Hello YouTube, I am Nathan Martin, aka the Gray Mystic. In this video we're going to talk about instant karma. And what is instant karma? If this is something that interests you, stay tuned. Instant karma is based on karma. It's just instant. A lot of people think karma is payback. Karma is not payback. Karma is actually the principle of cause and effect. You notice that I talk about cause and effect a lot. Why? Because it's important. Cause and effect, causality, being on the plane of causality. Cause is literally power. There is no difference between the concept of power and the concept of cause. When you are empowered inside yourself, you are empowered. When you're externally powerful, then you are, you're a powerful Jedi, a light or dark Jedi. Then you are going to be externalized in your concept of power. It is not inside you as much as it's outside you. You have to demonstrate your power by dominating or defeating an external foe. You're either dominating with your light or you're dominating with your darkness. Or even if you're just protecting yourself with your light, that's still the belief in the external cause. So that's cause and effect, karma. What goes around comes around. There are logical conclusions to our fallacious thinking. So if I have a fallacious assumption, and this assumption plays out over a long period of time, at the end, there is going to be a conclusion that is detrimental. That is karma. It's playing out over a long period of time, and finally, you realize that you built a house that's leaning like that because you weren't straight in your building. You weren't precise in your building. You didn't start with good thoughts. And then over time, your root assumptions turned into poor conclusions. That is karma. It bites you in the butt. Karma bites you in the butt. What goes around comes around. No, the way you think will manifest, and that manifestation will end up biting you in the butt. Period. That's karma. Instant karma means that you are now messing with somebody that you really should not be messing with, who is immensely more empowered than you. If somebody does not have a flaw in something, like they don't have a susceptibility, and somebody tries to do something to them, the person attacking, doing this thing to them, will experience instant karma. It cannot be any other way. The other person, the gray mystic, or the mystic in general, does not have to physically defend themselves from harm when they know that they actually are whole in this. They don't have to defend themselves. They can be very calm, rational, and confident in who they are and what they're doing. So when this attacker comes, what's going to happen is this attacker is going to experience instant karma because they can't do this to that person. This person doesn't have an in to do this negative thing to them. They can try, but what's going to happen is it's going to backfire. It's going to hurt the person who's attacking. It's instant karma without the other person even defending. For example, they might get a migraine headache immediate when they try to do something to somebody else. So if somebody who is testing their force abilities, they've experienced the grand shift. They've experienced this shift where they now are in alignment with their higher self in the earth. And they try to do something to somebody else. What's going to happen, if this person doesn't have a susceptibility, they might get a headache. They might experience some kind of a problem, up to including death. I mean, if they try to pull that trigger, it will backfire on them if the person is not in an agreement to have that experience. So if a dark mystic tries to attack a gray mystic, because a gray mystic doesn't have any holes, or at least has fewer holes, because they have fewer aspects of themselves that they have externalized, and fewer every day as they continue to process, they will have less and less areas in which you can attack them, less and less vulnerabilities. So they try to find a hole. If they try to attack a place that doesn't have a vulnerability, they will experience instant karma. Period. It will backfire. So most people who do that, they actually are very, very, very conscious of this. Mystics understand karma. Mystics understand instant karma. The light, dark, and gray mystics all understand this. The occultists and the AI also understand instant karma. Now, there are people who are testing out their new abilities. They might test the boundaries of what they can and cannot get away with. That means what things will end up giving them instant karma, what things they can get away with for longer that will not cause instant karma. It's longer karma, so to speak. They will test those boundaries. They want to see what they can get away with in the moment, what they can't get away with in the moment. A light being might also do that. An occultist will also. An occultist will definitely always probe the weaknesses of both the dark, gray, and light mystics, because they want to find out where they can poke and not experience instant karma. They have to be very careful. They can't just, somebody can't just come over here and shoot me because I don't have a susceptibility to that. Now, I might have an assumption that leads to a logical conclusion down the road that might say I'm in danger in this one area. But that's what processing is about. And as things arise, I process them to remove those susceptibilities. So it's a day-by-day experience of closing my susceptibilities, my vulnerabilities, adding armor, re-internalizing more and more aspects of myself, because every externalized aspect I have is an opportunity to get through and attack me without experiencing instant karma. Because instant karma is really my benefit. It protects me. It protects others too. If they don't have a vulnerability and a non-force user tries to do something to somebody that is very strong, like a dark mystic, and a non-mystic tries to attack them, the dark mystic is going to clean their clock. They're going to wipe the walls with this person because this person does not. It doesn't matter if there's 1 million of them. If these 1 million people all attack an area where this dark mystic does not have a vulnerability, they will get their asses handed to them. That's just what happens. Now, if they attack an area that is vulnerable because they have not worked out this susceptibility within themselves, then they can get through. But then even one person can get through. It doesn't have to be, it can be, let's say, let's give an example of a susceptibility. Let's say I have a susceptibility to sexuality. I really have a hole in my energy field for a certain type of woman with a certain look, with a certain body style, and a certain sensuality. I could be seduced. I am self-deceiving in that area. I could allow her to come into my life. An example of this is Samson in the Bible. Samson grew his hair out. He had really long hair. He was super, super powerful. He had abilities, but he had a weakness. He had a vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Women. Seduction. So a woman got into his bed, seduced him, asked him what was going on, what was his, why was he so strong? He said, it was my hair. Oh, really? Then she cut off his hair, and there, boom, he fell. That was his downfall. That was his downfall. We have to be careful. We have to be able to close our loopholes. And we use shadow work and emotional process work to close those loopholes within ourselves, those vulnerabilities, those susceptibilities. Because instant karma is our friend. Instant karma keeps us safe, keeps us free, keeps us sovereign. The areas that we are not sovereign, the areas where we're externalized, not internalized, those are our weaknesses. Those are where we can be probed and challenged, and that's where they can cause problems. And let me give you one more example of instant karma and how this played out in my own life. One time I was in Vegas, and there was a guy who got drunk, and he was having this thing with somebody that I was with, a girl that I was with. Not a dating girl, it was a friend. And he tried to force himself into this friend's room when I was in there. And he grabbed me by my shirt. And he was like, I'm going to get in. And he started to be forceful, and he tried to get by me. And I looked him straight in the eyes. I looked at him. I stared him down. I said, I am safe. I am not letting, and I don't let people into this room that might make me unsafe. And I didn't tell him what to do. I just said what I am doing and how I was going to live and how I was going to be in that moment specifically. And he fell over. He literally knocked back. He fell into the ground. He tried it a few more times, and I just kept reiterating. I didn't tell him what he was going to do. I didn't say, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to do this. I never told him what I was going to do to him. I didn't cross his boundaries because I understand instant karma. I understand that if I go into a power struggle like that, I lose. I don't necessarily lose, but now I'm on my own. Now I'm susceptible to fights. I'm susceptible to cause and effect and having things happen to me because I'm in a competition. So I stay out of the competition. I transcend above the competition. And in that moment, I did not go into a power struggle. I did not go into a competition. I just kept telling him what I was going to do. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be free. People don't touch me like this because I'm a sovereign being. And every time he grabbed me, he would fall over backwards onto his butt. And I didn't push him. I didn't attack him. I didn't do anything. I just kept telling him what. And he kept looking at me like, how are you doing this to me? What are you doing? He couldn't perceive. He couldn't comprehend what was going on. Now, that was one instance. Another instance, I was in a situation where I was speaking to a girl. There I was, speaking to a girl. And there was another guy who was jealous. And he wanted to kick my ass. In fact, he told this person later. And I'm actually friends with all these people now, and it's not a big deal. But there was some jealousy in this moment. And what happened is he later told this girl, I don't know what was going on, but I was going to come over there and I was going to kick Nathan's ass and I was going to yell at him and I was going to do something. And every time I tried to get within 10 feet of him, nothing happened. I could not move closer. I kept trying. By the way, this guy was much bigger than me. And in a fighting way, when it comes to a brawl, I probably would have lost. But in this kind of a thing, it's competition. In a competition, you are now susceptible to winning or losing. And you can lose just as much as you win. But I wasn't susceptible to that power struggle. I wasn't in it. I wasn't going into this. It's not a loophole of mine. I don't go into fighting conflicts. So because of that, he had nowhere to go. He tried to get close to me. Nothing would happen. He could not get within 10 feet of me to do anything. He was physically restrained by an invisible barrier. It did not allow him. That's because instant karma. It was no way. Now, it didn't come back on him. He didn't get hurt. He didn't feel pain. He just was not able to get close. He was restrained. Now, was it like some angels or anything like that? No, I think it was me. It was a part of me. I am not susceptible. I am not vulnerable to that kind of attack. So those are some examples of instant karma and how to use the force in a way by integrating your darkness and light. Using the force by clearing your susceptibilities, by clearing your entry points to power struggles. And those power struggles can only happen through externalized aspects of self. When you externalize an aspect of yourself, you are now vulnerable to attack. A dark mystic is vulnerable to attack from a light mystic. A light mystic is vulnerable to attack by a dark mystic. Why? Because they have externalized that part of themselves. That is why they're vulnerable. A gray mystic, one who is fully integrated, is not vulnerable. In general, they have less vulnerabilities anyways, but as time goes on, they find that they have less and less and less vulnerabilities. I am the Gray Mystic. If you enjoyed these videos, please click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day. Be well.